being efficient. Then the leader shows up, climbs up the tallest tree in the jungle, has a look out over the jungle, immediately looks down and yells at everybody over here, "Stop! Stop! Wrong jungle. We're supposed to be clearing over here." It's a funny little story, but it really helps me understand leaders, managers, and doers. So having said that, we need to recognize there's no such thing as somebody who is just a leader, or as somebody who's just a doer, or just a manager. In other words, we play all three of these roles. Everybody in here plays all three of these roles. There isn't a day that goes by that you don't do something in each one of these roles. Absolutely. Without a doubt. And you need to have a balance in all of these three. You know, a leader has to recognize that too much leading, and you miss out on learning something. In other words, every now and then we just got to shut up and step aside and learn from others. Too much leading, and we miss out on some learning. As a leader, we also know that we consciously have to take ourselves out of the leadership position every now and then and put somebody else in it so that we can let others grow. So that we can let others grow. You need to do that with your children. Every now and then you just need to say, "Hey, we've got Saturday with nothing to do. What do you think we should do?" You need to do it with your employees. We've got a real problem in this area. What? The question is, what do you think we should do? I keep focusing on what, because now I'm asking them to step up and be a leader, talk about direction. If I said to them, "Hey, we've got Saturday and nothing to do. We're going to go on a mountain biking trip. How do you think we need to go about preparing?" Now I've just asked them to do what? To be a manager. I already told them the direction. I told them what we're doing. Now I'm asking them how. I'm asking them to be a manager, to focus on the how we're going to do it. If I said to the employee, "We've got a real problem in this area, this is what we need to do. How do you suggest we implement that?" I'm asking them to be a manager again, to work on the how. Leadership is on the what. It's on direction. Quick slide here, just for as your career progresses. If you want to ensure that you never ever get to take a day off or take an hour off, then hold on tight to all your management and all your leadership roles in every nook and cranny of your company. Your staff will be calling you, you will be needed, you will be depended upon for absolutely everything, and you will never get a second to do anything else. So make sure as you look at all these roles, you give thought to the concept of developing people around you. Because a good leader does that. Keep myself in mind. Oh, I'm going to go back to this one. I threw that one in there. More of a personal look. Sometimes we look at these roles and we think there's a hierarchy to them. Good, important people get to lead. Slightly less important people get to manage. Really bottom of the totem pole gets to do. Research shows that all of us, including the great leaders, spend more time in the role of a doer than any other role. It's not less important than the other roles. We spend more time in that role than any other role. So don't get hung up on this concept of one is more important than the other. And this, not enough doing, and to me, you waste the most valuable resource, most valuable and precious resource we have in our lives, and that's time. You can't get it back. So that's just a quick snapshot of leadership in relation to management and doing. So now that we've got a quick snapshot of it, I want to talk a little bit about how the heck are we going to know when we're ready to lead? How are we going to prepare ourselves to lead? Let's think about some leaders that you've worked with, that you work with now, that you live with, that you interact with, friends in the community, whatever. Well, any of them that are a little bit bossy on occasion. Sorry. Don't mutter specific names out loud. Any of them perhaps maybe a little controlling? Maybe a little defensive every now and then? Hard to even get a word in with? Won't listen, won't even let you talk? Moody every now and then? Let me switch the question. Every now and then, are you bossy? Every now and then, are you controlling? Every now and then, are you a little defensive? Are you a little moody? Not so comfortable when we want to talk about us in those roles or in those positions. So I would suggest, and let's not talk about us in those positions or those situations, let's talk about others. I would suggest that when we're dealing with others who are in this position, at that moment that they're being bossy, at that moment that they're being moody, whatever it is, and keep in mind they may have many moments like this, they may have weeks, years, their whole life like this, but at that moment when you're dealing with this, I'd suggest that they're operating at a low level of maturity. I would suggest at that moment they're operating at a low level of maturity. And it has nothing to do with age, maturity. You could have a 14-year-old who's very mature. You can have a 55-year-old who's operating at a very low level of maturity. But when you see that kind of behavior at that moment, I suggest they're operating at a low level of maturity. Maturity continuum. This is something out of Covey's book, actually, and there are lots of different maturity continuums. Dr. Durst has one. There's 3 or 4 of them that I'm familiar with. So the concept of the level